Hello YouTube. This is going to be a continuation on the video I did earlier when I reviewed the movie Forbidden Planet. One of the problems about posting videos here on YouTube is the fact that we only get 10 minutes, and a movie that's as complex as the movie Forbidden Planet requires more than just 10 minutes. So here's another 10 minutes for you. One of the things I want to talk about a little bit more is the character of Dr. Morbus, which, as I said in my previous video, is a play on the Greek god Morpheus, which we all know the god Morpheus is the god of dreams in Greek mythology. This idea of the so-called mad scientist, or the person who has forbidden wisdom, or wisdom that should only be given to, or only be had by God, is very old in Hollywood. They've always touched on this. If you look at Frankenstein, you see the same thing. You know, someone who's trying to conquer death, someone who's trying to bring the dead back to life. It's the same concept. And those of you who are fans of GoddessZilla, the GoddessZilla movies, it's similar things. That movie doesn't necessarily talk about mad scientists or focus on mad scientists, but you still have this idea of nature, or you're going against nature, and nature sort of like rebelling against man because man is doing horrible things to nature. That actually I support. The fact that if you watch the original GoddessZilla movie, what's implied is the fact that they were doing nuclear testing, and all of that nuclear testing, splitting the atom and things along that nature, actually brought back the ancient dragon Leviathan back to life, and he was not, or she was not, I guess Godzilla was female, right? I think. But if Godzilla was female, it shouldn't be called GoddessZilla? Anyway. I'm always confused about that because I know Godzilla had a son. And where did the son come from? Alright, anyway. But the whole idea of nature coming back and taking revenge on society for society's wrong. Now that's something that I think is really real. We might not have a 1,000-foot monster who breathes fire on us and things along that nature, but nature does have a way of punishing mankind and womankind for wrongs that we've done. We might not have per se Godzilla, but we might have polluted water, or we might have something like carbon-14, that's something that's radioactive for 1,000 years. Now that is something really weird. But a lot of times what fiction writers do is they'll come up with something that kind of goes across the heads of some people. They can't necessarily come out sometimes and say, hey, the government should not be doing this and that and other. What they do is they give you a hypothetical situation, and they give you something that's totally unbelievable. But if you look at the message behind it, you'll get the idea of what the artist or the filmmaker was actually trying to portray. It could be zombies brought back to life by nuclear testing, or it could be Godzilla. But on the flip side of that, getting back to the mad scientist, the person who goes, I don't want to say too far, because I actually like Dr. Frankenstein, and I actually like Dr. Morbus, or some of these so-called mad scientists. They're not really mad, they're just basically questioning things. And if you question things the right way, then there's no problem with that. I think a lot of times Christians or people who are right hand path in their spirituality look at people like Dr. Morbus and think that they're evil, or they label them as being evil. And they're not really evil. They are just basically explorers, and they're not afraid to question things. The fact that Dr. Morbus in this movie was going back and looking at the original Quail writings that was left on the so-called Forbidden Planet, and trying to understand why their civilization failed and why their civilization became extinct, I think is very admirable of him, and that is something that I do personally respect of Dr. Morbus. And I'm pretty sure when you look in history, there are a lot of Dr. Morbuses out there. It could be Copernicus, it could be Galileo, it could be any of those scientists who a lot of times are persecuted by people who do not understand them. People who, you know, basically say, hey, you know, I'm looking at the universe, and you guys are saying that the universe is this way, but it is really that way. So that is something that I definitely respect. The thing that I find kind of interesting is in a lot of these movies where they focus on this mad scientist, a lot of times if you notice, he has a goatee, and he usually wears black. So they sort of insinuate that this guy is evil, or that he's going too far, and that's not necessarily true. And when you look at this movie, the Quail, the civilization that was on the Forbidden Planet, excuse me, the civilization that that died off, they were basically trying to understand who they really truly were and what they were truly all about. And one of the things that's insinuated in the movie is the fact that they got to a point where they felt that they didn't need physical bodies anymore, and they wanted to exist outside of their physical bodies, and they wanted to manipulate not just matter, but things that lie with outside of matter. And that's very deep. Problem is, in the movie, what happened, and which probably can happen in real life, is if you're not in touch with your emotions, and if you're not in touch with who you truly are, you can get those id monsters. And that's basically what happened within the movie. The dark side of Dr. Morbus came out, and anybody who posed a threat to him, the id monster attacked. In the movie, he had this smoking hot daughter, and I'm pretty sure he was overly protective of her, and probably somewhere in the back of his mind, he didn't want to see his daughter married, or you know how men are, they tend to be overprotective of the daughters. So instead of him lashing out in the real world, what happened was this id monster, part of himself, came to life, not in the physical, but in the metaphysical, and that's what attacked the crew members of the rescue party that came to the Forbidden Planet. So this is a very deep movie, and there's even more stuff that I can talk about in this movie. But if you guys get a chance, definitely rent this movie from your video store. It's a classic movie, classic sci-fi. It came out in 1956. If you check it out, you will not be disappointed. Okay, I'm running out of time as usual. So until next time, love is a law. And peace.